My name is Lenny Powell. I ask for your support in running for tribal council this year. It's been 20 years since I worked for the tribe. I saw a lot of you during that tenure. Some of you I might be meeting for the first time. About myself, I grew up in Oakland, San Leandro, Hayward, but also spent some time at the tribe. After college, I went to work for the tribe as the gaming commissioner. Did a lot of things that I was really proud of. Left the tribe and put in another 20 years of professional work that I'll talk about. But first, let me give you some more background. Raised by my grandmother, Catherine Yepes, and my grandfather, Leonard Yepes, and taught traditional blue-collar values. Just learn a trade and stick with it, and so I did. Kind of took on those old-time values of tradition and culture and thrift, making do with what I have. I didn't have the privileges of having ongoing support, neither financial nor encouraged to go to college or anything like that. Instead, I went to work in a low-wage field and got married the girl down the street at age 23. My first wife, Marcy, we're still married. We had 3 wonderful kids that I'll talk about. As newlyweds at age 23, we bought a new home and I began work in the public sector and haven't missed a day of pay since then. I've always been the single source of income for the family, for our family of 5, and my wife done incredibly well with our meager resources. So started out in blue collar. I was a mechanic, machinist, elevator constructor. I really liked doing all of that. Decided I wanted to move on. When I bought my house and relocated at age 23, I was appointed to several offices in Stanislaus County, and I learned a lot about community development in that capacity. I was elected or appointed to town council, to economic development advisory committee member, and park commissioner. I did all that while I was working for a regional parks district, so I got a lot of government exposure. I put myself through college at the same time, so I was either doing volunteer work, commuting, working full-time, and going to college and raising a young family. And then right after college, I got my degree in organizational behavior from the University of San Francisco. The tribe called on me, and I came to work to be on this first gaming commission, to where I had a lot of very rewarding experiences. Got to work in the regulatory field and kind of break out of that blue-collar mold that I was pigeonholed into, and to start into the white-collar professional regulatory world. I put in some years of service for the tribe, and then after leaving, continued in my local government service, stayed home to focus on our kids. We always put family first, and my wife, Marcy, did a lot of homeschooling, spent most of her time homeschooling our kids, and we pushed them to be good citizens. And that was a worthwhile project. You may know my son, Lenny. He served as your tribal council member from 2010 to 2013. And then he left to go on to Harvard Law School. He'd already graduated UC Berkeley by then. And he did great things both for the tribe and after he left. He served on Harvard Law Review, and today he's working in Washington, D.C., working for Big Law, helping make decisions in the biggest Indian law cases in decades, and regularly assisting with cases before the U.S. Supreme Court on Indian law matters, their national affairs. And it's a really big deal, and we're pretty proud. My twin daughters, 6 years behind him, Melody and Victoria, both went to Stanford and graduated with their degrees in economics, and they're both in degree programs now, MBA master's programs in business, one at Columbia University in New York and the other one at UCLA. They've both been professionally heavily involved in Disney for the Disney Corporation, and they'll both return to either Disney or the entertainment and business world, and they'll make big accomplishments there too. Next week I'm going to New York to see my daughter, and I'll also see my son as he teaches, because he's also part-time faculty at the NYU teaching law in their law school. More about me. So after leaving my Hopland work, I used my community development experience combined with the regulatory duties I learned through Hopland, and took on work as a code enforcement officer. And then from there, I kind of grew my resume. I then became an airport manager, a transit manager, transportation manager, community preservation manager, zoning administrator, and deputy building official, all for California cities, award-winning cities. While at the city of Fremont, where I started the longest, I helped propel it to be recognized as the happiest city in the U.S. for multiple consecutive years. Doing all of this, I went back to school and having learned from working for the tribe, but I really valued working with the attorneys and accountants. So I did postgraduate work in business, accounting, and auditing, passed the CPA exam because I thought I would go down that route. And then kind of changed courses and decided to go to law school and competed in law school because I really liked working in the legal sector, where I spent the past 20 years doing enforcement work and regulatory work. And let's see, well, I also worked for professional associations. I was appointed by the California state to the Gaming Policy Advisory Committee, and they help regulate all card rooms and Indian gaming in California. I also served as president of the California Indian Law Association for 2 terms. I also served on the State Association of Code Enforcement Officers, where I made great strides in helping them advance the organization and create new state laws. I got to write a chapter of the California Health and Safety Code to regulate that profession. I also worked with several other organizations, including tenants' rights groups and other professional associations, to help make new laws to advance housing safety. Those are several new laws that I got to write that are on the books right now that I then got to go around and teach statewide at academies, conferences, and conventions. The most recent one, AB 548, that I wrote and advocated for 5 years, was just signed in October 2023 by the governor, and this year 2024 is new law. It takes effect January 1st of 2025. So I have a lot of legislative kind of background, knowing how to work with lawmakers, getting things done, finding needs and recruiting support, working with lawmakers and doing successful advocacy, lobbying for legislation, and doing it successfully. When the pandemic hit, I was part of the Great Resignation. I had done enough government work, so I resigned out and then decided I want to work where I wanted to work rather than where I was. So I took some time off. I chose to go back to work. I served as the executive director for the Santa Ynez Band of Chumash Indians for the tribal operations, and I learned so much. I had 5 or 6 departments that I was in charge of. I learned so much about culture and tradition and grant writing, overall administration. Grants, as you know, are the lifeblood of many tribes. I've secured millions of dollars in grant funding, learned to work with the BIA and other grant providers, seek grants, apply for grants, be awarded grants, and work with FEMA and disaster recovery and secured lots of money during the great storms that we had. So I have a lot of experience doing that. I was part of growing and developing a museum. I learned a lot about finding cultural resources and the value of preserving culture. I worked with anthropologists, archaeologists, and cultural preservation monitors, and I have a strong passion now for securing and preserving cultural elements for the tribe, and I'd really love to help Hopland do a lot of cultural preservation work if given the opportunity. Let's see, I think that's it about me. I sent out a paper candidate statement that introduces me, and it has my email address and a link to this video, so feel free to reach out to me. And I look forward to hopefully being elected to the Hopland Tribal Council and being able to serve you in my next role. Thank you very much. Have a great day.